to the marathon. I'm Marlene of Marlene Motivates, and you have tuned in to the marathon. This is the marathon that we do monthly. The last one was Everyone Has Its, and I'm going to link it in the description box when this live is over. Make sure you hit the like and you subscribe to this channel for more. The content on this channel is centered on motivation, inspiration, and positivity. And I try my best to make sure the content that I put on here is going to be something that will be encouraging and upbuilding. So you all are welcome over here. Today we're doing a marathon, and I'm going to have a few special guests. And I'm going to ask my first guest if they could please hit the link and come up. So, today we're talking about everyone has its challenges. There are challenges in this life, and nobody's challenge is going to be the same. Everybody's challenge is going to be different. Everybody's going to handle things differently. Nobody has the same two set of circumstances. Nobody has, all of those things. Hi, Bonnie. How are you doing? Welcome. I am having a good day. I hope you are as well. Happy Saturday to you. And I wanted to say to my first guest, Boss Life Online, could you please hit the link? Thank you, Slasher Chick. I appreciate it. My first guest, can you please hit the link? Hold on a second, guys. Okay. Okay. So, welcome to the marathon. I appreciate every single one of you for being here. Hit the like, and I'm going to see if I can start a poll. I don't think I can, but we're going to move on. So, while I'm waiting on my first co host, first I want to say everyone has their challenges in this life. Everyone has their problems and different situations. So while I'm waiting for my first co host, I'm going to, oh, here she is. So let me add my first co host, and that is Boss Life Online. Hey,
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 can you
thank
hear
you.
me?
Yes,
Okay.
very well and clear. So thank you so much for coming up. This is Boss Life Online. Tell them a little bit about your channel, Gio.
My channel, Boss Life Online, is all about showing you how to make money with viral mailers. The reason that I do that because I'm an affiliate marketer myself, and I own my own ad board, which is sort of kind of a viral mailer. But if you have a home business or if you want to advertise your YouTube channel, you could do it in viral mailers, and that is why I have that channel to show you how to do it. Also, I do motivation on that channel, as well as advertisement for my channel members.
That's amazing. So if you guys are interested, go over to Boss Life Online's channel and hit that subscribe button. Give her some support and love over there. So, Gio, you're first up, and the topic today is everyone has its challenges, and I kind of told you what it was about, but I want you to speak on a challenge that you deal with.
Uh, this last challenge that I had was a journey. It almost took me a whole year to get my channel back, and that was Boss Life Online. And what had happened was that before they changed the new monetization rules, we were going by the old monetization rules, which is mostly whatever you wanted to do would would be okay. So I joined YouTube back in 2019, and I was just doing what everybody else was doing. I come from a business world, so I didn't know much about YouTube. So I had to go and follow people that I thought knew what they were talking about. Okay. Now, some did and some didn't. Let me just put that out there. Okay. And so as I got Boss Life Online going, I started out with just home business, talking about my home business, going live, talking about my home business. And somewhere in there, I started paying attention to the easier stuff to do. Okay, which is going to a website, which I heard from somebody. You can go to a website and get these free clips and make a video out of them, or just put them on your channel, and you can let it go all night long, blah 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 blah. Or you could just have the bubbles up there. We got monetized for a lot of things. Okay,
Right.
back in the day, you know. And another thing that I did was uh, back in the day that I got monetized off of was just putting up like uh, waves, you know,
Yeah.
fireplaces and waves and beaches and all of that. And then I would just put my subscribers on there, in text, but I would never say exactly what it is. In text, I would say this is just a shout out to my subscribers, but I was never on there myself with a picture or my voice.
Right.
Okay, because back in the day, we didn't have to do all of that.
No.
You understand? So I'm telling you guys this whole story so that you'll know how I got to where I'm getting ready to go with the story, demonetized. Okay. Now it is easier to just put up anything and then put some text to it and go on about your business. Okay. Back in the day, that was good. That was cool. But now it is not. And back in the day, it kind of made you lazy. Well, I can't speak for nobody else. I can just speak for myself.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it was the easy way out. And ain't it when it's the easy way out? Child, you better look at it.
You
Something
bet.
might be wrong with that boy. Okay. And it was, and I didn't understand what back in the day, I didn't understand what reuse content was or repurpose content. Okay. Another thing that I did that helped my channel get demonetized was I had a lot of vlogs on Boss Life Online. And everybody liked my vlogs, and everybody kept saying, you need a vlog channel. You need a vlog channel. And I just thought to myself, well, let me make up a vlog channel. Okay. And so I named it Geo's Vlogs. And y'all know what I did. I put at least half of the vlogs I had on uh, I had saved like a lot of the vlogs. All I had to do was just upload them. So they were on Boss Life Online and Geo's vlogs. So right there, because I have learned a lot of stuff, that was the wrong thing to do. You cannot have the same content on two channels. Sooner or later, YouTube gonna catch you. Okay. And what happened to me was both of the channels got demonetized like 3 days apart for the same thing. The first one was for reuse on Boss Life. The second one was for repurposed content. Is because I had put the vlogs on there. Now I done this here back in 2021. Okay, so that lets you know that YouTube is going back, looking at all these monetized channels. You monetize, you better get it right before
Yeah.
they get to you. Because I could not understand. Well, what did I do wrong? I had no idea.
Hmm.
Now I'm telling you, it was a challenge. Okay, so I said, okay, I'm just gonna go. And they say reuse content. So I went and I read about reuse content, and it still didn't click on me that reuse content and repurpose contents is almost the same. Okay, it did not dawn on me that I had vlog stuff on Geo's vlogs from uh, Boss Life Online until, okay, I found out much later. But here comes the challenge part here. I said, okay, I got all the reused content off of my Boss Life Online, all the shout outs that just had, texts and things that I thought that was it. And so that made me have to go and get about maybe 800 watch hours. But that I wasn't worried about because I have Team Bill with Geo. I'm a member of Team Bill, and that's what we do. We help each other with watch time. So I got that back in about like a month or so. And so I reapplied. Oops, sorry. So I re well, to anything like that company, do you know? Okay. What other company gives you business? So I decided, uh,
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt you. I was thinking it was going to come back, but it's going in and out for a little bit. Can you hit off and come back, leave and come back? Hello to everybody who is here. Hi Pandy. Hi Dawn. Hey Realist One. How is everybody doing? Thank you so much for being here. Hi Alicia and Bonnie. Yeah, the sound is going in and out. I'm sure she'll go out and come back in and it will be okay. But I do appreciate you all being here. Thank you so much. She'll come back. So yeah, that's a challenge. So Geo was talking about the challenge that she has had of losing her monetization and trying to get it back. And to anybody who has been monetized and lose your monetization, it is not an easy road to get it back. I'm speaking from experience. My fourth channel lost mon well, not lost, but I got declined for monetization because of reuse content, and I'm still working to get that channel back. It's a struggle. Realist says, yeah, I know all about it. Yeah. So one thing, like in talking about the challenges of monetization and all of these things, is we have to look and see what role we played in it. Here comes Geo again. Let's add her back.
two. Oh, okay. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. To data, but I was just looking for my. Okay, what was I at, Marlene?
Well, I'm not really sure because it was getting choppy, but you were talking about how you had lost the monetization and how you had went through and you were trying to get it back and you had information on
Oh
both
yeah, yeah,
channels.
yeah. The first time I tried to get it back, and I still I had repurposed content. I said, repurpose? What is that? First of all, I got demonetized 2023, August. Then I had to wait months. And that was around December. Then I applied again. Okay. And then they told me I had that it was a journey. If it had not have been motivated to keep trying to second time they turned me down. So I said, okay, God, I'm gonna need your help. I said, because it don't understand what I'm doing here. So I remember uh crying about it, you know, and I just said, this is very, very challenging. This is one of the most challenging things that I've been through in my business world. You know, that it was the first time that I just wanted to quit. Okay. And I tell you that, guys, because I am human. You know, I'm not some robot. I do have feelings. The challenging part was to keep going, you know, to never give up, to be ask questions. So I like, okay, God, only person I know that gonna lead me right to the source is you. I said, now you know I'm crazy. You know I want to give up. You know all of this about the girl. I said, told me that if I asked you, if I told people how you saved my life, you would be there for me. So that's what I need for you to do, God. And I prayed that prayer, and I did not get up until I felt like it was
Yeah.
gonna happen. And I being point blank honest, because that's the only way I know to keep going is to call on the name of Jesus. And y'all know the story.
Mm-hmm.
Ranger. Ranger hit me up and I said to him, I don't, because this is the third time. Is it one, two? Yeah, that they have told me that I got repurposed content on my channel. I say, and this is very frustrating. I said, it's been almost 6 months. Bill need to be paid. Okay. And I was highly upset. And he started telling me about how he got demonetized and because it was repurposed content. I said, yeah, that's what they telling me. I said, what? So he said, did you go in your back office? He said, under copyright. I heard all of that stuff, even though they said it was free. Child, I don't believe that. Uh, and so I say, now what? I said, well, let me go down now. So I clicked the copyright button and bam, there it was. All of the stuff that I had put on Geo's vlog showed up under the copyright. I archived some stuff too, right there. He said, you need to go in there. I went, really? like that. So what happened with that was I had to delete, make a decision else had copied and put it on their.
Yeah. Yeah, I know you did. I know you did. And that's a yeah, and I know that it was oh, go ahead.
You know that people didn't copy. Okay,
G-
that
G-
follows the
Geo
copyright.
Geo is doing the same thing again.
Oh, it is.
Hmm.
Oh well, I don't know what else to do,
Oh,
Marlene.
it's okay, Gio. You shared your story, you shared your challenge, and that's all I asked of you, and I appreciate it.
yeah, I don't know why it's going in.
It wasn't. Oh, oh, it stopped now. Wherever you are right now, it's fine. Yeah, Gio, it's getting worse now. Yep, it's getting worse now. Yeah, it's going out really bad, Gio. Yeah, it's getting worse. Yeah, I know. I know. I understand. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, Gio. You can just leave the rest of your story. Just put it. You can just you can just.
Yeah,
I
because phone
I understand. It's okay. You can just drop down in the comments and
don't-
leave the rest of your story. Just type it out, and I'll ask if what you call it, the next guest to come up. I think yeah, you can come up one day and string your. It's okay. Bye bye. Bye. Thank you, Gio, for sharing your story. Gio, I don't know if you guys, how much you guys heard, and saw your comments, Pandy, and your slot was for, I think 3:15, 3:15. But I may need you to come up a little earlier. Next up, I have delightful Dawn. Dawn, can you please hit the link and come up the link I sent you? So Dawn is up next, but Gio just sharing her her story about the struggles of being on YouTube, of being a content creator, and then working so hard to get monetized and then losing it. That is a challenge. So while I'm waiting for Dawn to come up, I'm going to share my challenge. Um, Everyone has their challenge. So my challenge, I know that I put out positivity and encouragement, but my challenge honestly is maintaining a positive mindset and attitude in a negative world. This world, we all know that there's negative people, there's evil everywhere. There's people who are trying to break your spirit. It's people who trying to copy you, duplicate you, get you down. And then the drama, and then it's just your everyday adulting, trying to survive and trying to keep things together in your relationships that you care about, the people that you love, whether it be your children, spouse, significant other, your friends. It's a struggle. It really is. And so, my challenge really is to maintain a positive attitude in a negative world because people who are negative are all around us and they will drain you. Hi, Miss Lynn. How are you doing? Welcome. And I see Dawn in the background. So let's welcome her to the show. Hey,
Hi. Is it clear? Can y'all hear me?
it's clear. I see you.
Okay, good. I didn't know this had to be on the phone. So I had got up a nice setup on the computer. It's like,
Thank
no.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you for having me, Marlene. Hey,
Yes, no
Chad.
problem. Yes. Okay, so tell everybody about your channel, Dawn.
Hi, my name is Dawn. My channel is delightful underscore Dawn. Delightful underscore Dawn channel is pretty much a lifestyle channel, vlogs, hair videos, makeup, all things that are delightful. And it's pretty much the journey of Dawn and my unapologetic, you know,
Yeah.
lifestyle. So,
Mhm.
yes.
Yes, I like that. So, as always, everybody who came up, I'm going to put a link to all of their channels so you guys go over and show them some love. So, Dawn, um, let's share your struggle. You know that this topic today is everyone has its challenge. So, can you please tell everybody what's a challenge that you have faced or you are facing?
One of my biggest challenges, which I am divulging on my channel now as we speak every Friday, is pretty much boundaries. Boundaries when it comes to family, friendship, relationships. And that's something that not until recently that I discovered that I had a problem with. And whether it's even like with work. So recently I went through a big change with my life, which caused me to move out of the current household I was with in for about 6 years because of boundaries that I had with a sibling. And so for me, I'm trying to relearn myself and reestablish the boundaries. I don't know if anyone else have issues with that. Also, Marlene's channel has been a very good help because Marlene is all about the boundaries, all about the self worth, all about the motivation. And so that has been a real big struggle, which now looking back, I didn't know that the boundary issues that I had with family, correlated with boundaries that I have when it comes with friends, boundaries that I have that come with relationships that are new for me because for a very long time, I didn't have any type of intimate relationship when it came to a partner. So when you already have issues with boundaries when it comes to relationships with family and friends, and now you're introducing like a partner into your life, all of that just became new for me. So right now, that is what I'm learning. I'm learning like I'm struggling really like that's the current life that I'm in, struggling with the importance of having boundaries, the importance of having privacy, especially when you're on YouTube. A lot of the stuff that we talk about become public. And so having just even for myself knowing the limits of how far I want to go when it comes to divulging certain information, because I'm very much open and people always tell me, you talk too much. Like even yesterday, I had told a partner that I was talking to another person because it was getting on my nerves. And I talk like sometimes you don't have to tell somebody that. So it's just me learning like, okay, you need to establish your boundaries, establish what can be said, and then also establish the consequences for when someone break those boundaries and where it's healthy and you're communicating. I've never learned that. You know, we grew up in a household. Marlene talks about how she grew up in the Caribbean. It's Caribbean, right? Is
Yes.
it a Caribbean household? You weren't type you didn't have a say so. You didn't get to have a feedback as a child. So now that I'm older, I try to make sure, okay, Don, how do you feel about this? So it's kind of hard to establish consequences, but I don't even know like how do I feel about certain things to even work through it to know, okay, how do I want to deal with it, and then what is the consequence for myself and for the other person if those boundaries are cut off. I mean, are crossed, not cut off, crossed. But yeah, that's what I've been working on, y'all. It's like
Yes.
any feedback or any particular question, I would try to answer it. But boundaries is what I'm working on because I want to be I want to be the best version of myself. And what what made me even realize that I was even having issues when it came to boundaries, I was starting to sometimes I would set boundaries and then set up for someone to cross them because I opened the door for them to be inappropriate. So I
Mm.
didn't even realize that. I'm like, I'm just so upset this person did this to me, and it's like, well, how did we get there? So I'm just learning even that. Like now, I'm trying to journal. I journal a lot. I try to make sure that I'm trying to work through the emotions so I can have a positive resolve. And so that's been interesting. But Marlene has known
Yeah.
me a very long time, and
Yeah.
the personality that you get on camera is pretty much the personality off camera. I'm probably more kooky on camera than I am off, but I really appreciate you having me up here. So
No,
that's
it's
my
no.
challenge.
Yeah, that's your challenge. So okay, your challenge is boundaries, and for most of us, like you said, I didn't grow up with boundaries. There was nothing that I grew up in a household where everybody was in the house, but everybody was in their own world. So you
Yeah,
have all of these, you got adults, you got kids, and it was just to me pure mayhem. Maybe not to other people in my household, but I didn't handle it well because I thrive on knowing what is happening next. I'm a planner. I need to know what's happening, where are they going, is everybody okay? But it was just like everybody in their own world, and I didn't like it. So that's, I think, the reason why I'm so driven to with order, and that's the reason why I am the way that I am now, because I did not have order and control when I was
young.
younger. So I try my best not to be overly, but sometimes I think when you come from a situation where you had no boundaries and now it's all about boundaries, you have to also allow people to be themselves. That's one thing. Like, I can't control what other people do, but I can control how I react to it.
That was deep. I didn't learn that until I always knew like we say a lot of stuff, but actually implementing that type of frame of thought not until maybe 2 days ago. I had a friend that I crossed the boundary for her, but she didn't communicate it to me. So when she did communicate this issue, it's for me in my frame of thought. I'm like, you waited a very long time to communicate it, so all I can do is listen. And normally I did get upset, but I had to stop and think and be like, well, she's telling me that a boundary was crossed, whether or not it was immediately, she's communicating it now. And all I can do is listen and not be so reactive. So I think a lot of times growing up, because we're quiet, we always had a reaction that we couldn't say, or we seen people just react and not like proper communication was not a thing growing up for me. Like all I seen, there was love, but I felt like, it wasn't proper communication. I was never exposed to how to properly communicate. So I just learned just to shut up. And so she took that like, okay, you're not saying nothing. It's like, no, I'm actively listening to you. I'm processing the emotions. I cannot give you a response. I can give you a response of, hey, I'm taking it in. But as far as you wanting to know, like, is there an issue? Right now, I don't have an issue. I am going to be a friend. I'm going to listen. I'm gonna take it in, and hopefully we can get through, which we did. But I was like, oh my gosh, Dawn, you didn't just have an automatic response, because growing up, when I seen my mom going back and forth with family members, with my dad, it always seemed reactive. So like, I mean, like when you're talking to someone, you just automatically have a response, and you're not actually actively listening and to give a response for that particular situation, not just because you want to be right or you don't want to be wrong. So I think that's interesting. But I was super quiet as a kid, so
Yeah.
it probably didn't matter, because first off, the ones I feel like me and Marlene are like the same. Like we were super quiet, and because we were quiet, people would forget that we were there. Because they forgot that we was there, we also was exposed to probably more than what adults thought that they could hear. Which that's just a reminder for y'all, if y'all do have children around. When kids are quiet, doesn't mean they're not listening. It can be on the iPad. I would be in a book, but I would be listening to what my cousins were saying, and I would go back and tell my mom everything. Like, my mama, did you know that so and so is now dated back with her ex boyfriend? And I would tell her, and I didn't know what was going on, but I knew something was inappropriate. She was like, no, you're not going back over there. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what did I say that was wrong? I love going over her house. She got the good snacks. They got food stamps, because we didn't have food stamps. I thought that was like the big. I'm like, Mama, why haven't we made it? Why don't we have food stamps like our cousins? And she was like, we don't have them. I wish we did. I'm like, but they got the good snacks. I want to go back. I don't want to get in trouble, but I do remember always being like told, like, children should be seen and not heard. And that can be something that translates into adulthood, that we
Yeah.
just used to being seen and not heard. So I feel like a part of me is that I don't want to not be heard when it comes to any relationship or friendship, partnership, whatever it is. I want to make sure that I'm communicating, which I have a problem doing. And people say it all the time. They can tell me something, but I'm not. For me, I always call it processing. So people, it's funny. Each person I talk to, I'm like, I'm processing what you're saying. They're thinking I'm being funny, but I don't want to be reactive in the conversation. I want to be able to take in what you're saying, let me process it, and then give you a response that I feel is adequate to our conversation and not reactive. And so even then, I feel like people say that they're communicating or they're willing to let you process stuff and they're not. So I'm just learning to even know, like, discern the moment, Dawn, when to say stuff or how to say it. And I know that I can be a lot. So I'm just learning. Apparently, I have facial expressions, Marlene, too, when I'm processing things. And my both my family and friends recently was like, well, we don't we you your face say something different from your mouth. And it's like my face is processing. And because I don't want to come out with the words of like, girl, that's stupid, or boy, you must be lying. I just be looking like, okay,
Mhm.
okay,
Oh,
I'm listening.
okay.
But
Okay. Okay.
I'm learning that faces have, have a certain emotions that it evokes in another person. So I'm trying to work on that too. So it's like, the boundaries I have, well, the challenges I have is setting boundaries, kind of knowing even what the boundaries are for myself, and then also making it where people can receive what I'm saying in response. So I feel like that's all a part of communication. I'm learning how to re-communicate as an adult, reframe my mind and communicating as an adult, which I think a lot of people don't
Yeah.
even know that you can do. And I always tell some people that I believe in perspective. I believe in having multiple thoughts of not personalities, but multiple thought
Yeah.
processes when it comes to situations, because I feel like there's no one way to do something. There's not one right way. There's not a wrong way that you do it. It's like how you deal with the situation. Like how Marlene was saying, that it's not what you say, it's how you say it sometimes. It's not what you do, it's like what you do is just how you do it in response for that person. Of course, I love Marlene. So if something was said, I'm not just gonna come out on live and be like, Marlene, you hurt my feelings, when I know that it's something that it could be handled behind the scenes. It's just how you treat people, and they can take like, hey, this she must really care about me, or really been hurt that she came out of her way to to say she was hurt. So I'm just
Exactly.
relearning everything, and I do take a lot of what Marlene says on her channel into consideration on all the multiple channels of the motivation, like all of that. I listen to in the morning time driving, just sitting there. And I feel like during the roughest times of my life of me when I realized I didn't have boundaries, and Marlene knew, because I think that you had a live, and like we were both going through, and I'm like, Marley, I feel you. And she was like, okay, Dawn. And then you reached out to me through DM, like how Marlene dealt with that situation to me, showed me that she cared. And that even for her, she knew that a boundary of mine, that once I told her I wasn't ready to talk about it, she didn't push. She wasn't like, well, no, you made a comment on my YouTube channel that you felt a certain way, you were going through something in your life. She just encouraged me. Sometimes you just need someone just to be there or just to check in every once in a while. It doesn't mean that you have to be absent. And Marlene has always been there for me. Has even though I haven't told her what I was going through or what I've been going through, she's always been very supportive and encouragement. And I would try to make sure I reciprocate the same thing, because sometimes it's hard. We were talking about people pouring into people, that if Marlene is constantly pouring into us and y'all on here and no one's ever pouring into Marlene, eventually Marlene's going to run dry. Eventually Marlene's going to get burnt out. Eventually Marlene may have a moment where she's concerned, like, well, who do I turn to? Who's gonna pour into me randomly? So, like, as y'all go through and watch her videos, sometimes pour into her. Tell Marlene she's doing a good job and that you love her and that you want to make sure that she knows that her life is important on this earth and that you see the value in the content that she creates, because you definitely have value that you put out here for people that's going to have longevity. And that's the difference with a lot of people who create content that doesn't translate 10 years from now. And the content that you create absolutely is longevity and something that people can value 20, 30 years from now. And right now, I may not have a million views, but when I'm not here, someone's going to find that video. And next thing you know, you're like, y'all couldn't have put my. But, Marlene is very much that person, and I'm very appreciative. If I'm talking too much, Marlene, just say, shut up. You got another.
No, you're fine. You're on a roll. And I appreciate everything that you say. One thing that I will say. Oh, let me first acknowledge some people that have come in. Hi, Miss Lynn. Hi, Doretha. Hi, Curious. Hi, Joshua. I appreciate everybody who's here and anybody watching on the replay. Hit the like, leave me a comment as always. But one thing that I want to say as adults, well, we go through situations in our life, traumas, people putting you down, people ghosting you, being absent in your life, or not showing up in your particular love language. It that stays with us. Even if we say we don't care about things, it does stay with you. And I had to learn to check that. Stop saying that something doesn't affect us when it does. I had to learn to be honest with myself first so that I could be full. And so I stopped saying I don't care about things when I do care.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn first I have to respect myself. First I have to say I love myself. First I have to be my own friend. First I have to fill up my own cup. And until we do that, fill up our own cup, setting our own boundaries and all of those things, then we're not able to give and be there for others. And I found that what I was doing is I was doing things backwards, because naturally the majority of us are very kind and giving people, but we forget about ourselves first. We forget to take care of our outward appearance, our mental, our spiritual, our physical. We're putting all of these things above us. So of course you're going to be drained. You're going to be tired, stressed out, not eat appropriately because you're not putting your own oxygen mask on first. So when it came to boundaries, one thing I learned when I was in therapy is I had to learn that I'm valuable. And because I value me, I start my day with me first. So everybody gets cut off before I take care of myself. I don't answer no phone calls. There's no text. It's about me first so that I can pour into everybody else.
See, I have not learned that.
Period. Period.
I have not learned. So that for me, I feel like I'm now attached to my phone for the longest. So hey, Trinity, that's my sister. It's
Hi,
her first time over here.
Trinity.
Hey, Trinity. Um, I'm trying to say this where it's not. I'm trying to figure out how to say where it's not too much information. I don't know if you want me to share it. So I was talking to someone, or currently talking, like in and out, and because they quoted me that the only time they could talk to me was in the middle of the night, like a certain time, a certain time, like 2 o'clock in the morning. So I would wait until this particular time to always reach out to them. They wouldn't reach out to me, I would reach out to them. So then once I decided, oh, I'm not talking to them no more, um, my body would just be attached to the phone constantly. Like I was always checking my phone, even though I wasn't talking to this particular person. So I'm like, I'm developing this unhealthy habit of even like for the longest, I would be sleeping in the middle of the night and would wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning just out of habit of me doing it and not having just that moment for me to have a good full night's rest because my body was used to waking up at this time. This person can only speak to me to now where I've been waking up in the middle of the night and I'm like, Dawn, you need to stop. So I started to put my phone on the charger in the living room. And I said, well, if someone needs to call, like if it's an emergency, they will call. So then I would hear the ring. So if it's a text message, most of the time my friends know that if like I had a friend call me at 4 o'clock in the morning once and I said, what were you gonna do if I didn't answer? She was like, that mean you weren't available, but I knew normally you would answer because I mean, you were always kind of, she said, I just felt like you was up. So I think it's nice that people know, but it's also like, okay, if they really need me, I would be there. But I had to move my phone because I was just kind of like stuck to it. Like it's very unhealthy to feel like you need to be stuck to your phone. And instead of me always like texting people or being on the internet and scrolling through social media, I started to start doing I don't know if anyone has an iPhone, but you can do journaling. So I started journaling on there about the feelings and the emotions that I would feel, the timestamp, and then I would ask questions like, how do you feel about what you said yesterday? And then just because that's been a part of me trying to like technically do therapy but not do therapy. I don't know how because right now therapy is high for me because my insurance changed and I really do want to go back because I do think it is something that really did help me grow as an individual. But that's how I've been dealing with my emotions and trying to reestablish healthy boundaries, healthy habits, and because I want to have good characteristics. And sometimes people think, okay, well, who you are as a person now is that's it, and that's not true because who I am today like ultimately stuff had to happen in order for me to be this person. So now I feel like I have to report with the type of people that I hang around, with the type of music that I listen to, with the stuff that I allow to come into my spirit. I'm like a huge fan of paternity court. And my sister in here, Trinity, she's always like, why do you watch that ratchet TV? Do you want to be somebody baby mama? I'm like, no, but I just enjoy the ratchetness of other people's lives that's not mine. And so she was like, stop feeding yourself. I would watch it hours and hours and hours, Marlene, and me watching Paternity Court, where now I'm like, the first thing I do in the morning, I used to watch Paternity Court. I now watch motivational videos. So it's either I put on one of Marlene videos or I like scriptures. I don't know if anyone's into scriptures. I like to hear like positive like reaffirming motivation scriptures and I listen to those, get in the car. I've been trying to listen to audiobooks instead of always listening to podcasts about I like Breakfast Club, like interviews, like artists. So instead of doing that, I'm like, how can I make myself a better person? Certain interviews are good, but I want to make sure whatever I'm feeding myself is going to ultimately make me like a better Dawn and build better characteristics to make me a good person. Not they said paternity court.
Yes,
Paternity court is entertaining, y'all. I'm not saying don't watch
it
it, but don't
is.
like me and watch
It is.
3 hours worth of paternity court.
Yes. And one thing that I learned, my therapist and my mentor together, is helping me to realize that our thoughts turn into our actions.
Mm-hmm.
So if you are feeding your mind on garbage, what do you think you're going to become? So that's where it started for me to stop intaking negativity, and we don't feel like it's negative. Like, it's one of the reasons why I stopped watching things that were violent. I stopped watching, and I'm saying for me, I'm not saying this for anybody. This is Marlene's, my personal growth level. I stopped watching things that were violent. I stopped watching things that was not positive, things that was gonna trigger me to feel more anxious or things like that, and start watching things that was gonna bring me knowledge, that was gonna make me think. And when I started doing that, my life started shifting. And I noticed when you stop feeding your mind off negativity, I automatically started thinking more positive. For me, it was incredible. And we don't understand how we think, yeah, oh, I like that. Like you said, I like that ratchet TV. I like that movie. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, it is entertaining, but also there is after effects to that, because when I was watching those violent things, as soon as something would happen, I was ready to always pop off and hit somebody,
Hmm.
because it's just because that's what I was feeding my
Feeding.
mind. And unknowingly, a lot of times we don't realize we are upset and angry about things because of what we're watching. And one thing I learned is that we have a choice. You have a choice on what you are entertained by. And that's also, in getting back to what you were talking about boundaries. I think that it's important that first you have to set a boundary about what you actually want. What do you want as a woman or a man first? And that was something before I went to therapy. I was like, boundaries about what I want. I was like, that don't make no sense. But but it's true, because if you first don't know what you want, other people are going to tell you what they want from you. So
Hmm.
I had to learn how to get really clear about what do I really like and what do I hate, and what is like, it's okay. I'll let them choose, give a little bit of leeway. But at the same time, I had to learn to start setting standards about what Marlene wants, and the things that is like, okay, you're talking about this or doing something that's off track about what my values, my beliefs, and I've told you what I don't like and you still do it. Those are the times where I set the boundary. Okay, everybody, bye. Because before I would go to places, like go to parties, go to things, and I would sit there and I would be uncomfortable. I hate this. I know I'm tired. Or I would go to things that I know I couldn't afford. So I had to learn for me. I had to learn first. I have to be honest with myself first, and learn to stop saying yes to
Yes,
things that I want to say no to. I had to start with me first.
that was deep. So, do you feel that even now, do you think boundaries can change? Like maybe you set a
Oh yeah.
boundary and you're like, okay, I don't
Mhm.
no longer have to abide by this particular boundary. Is this something you feel like is subconscious that you just think about in your head? Or are you a person that has to write it down first?
Well, for me, I'm a person initially, because when you develop things in your mind, that's not something that just happened. That's years and years in the making of traumas, of whatever things people tell you, programming. So, it takes, just like it took you years to develop bad habits, bad thoughts, bad attitudes, it's going to take you some years to start getting to a place where you said, I'm at a place now where I need to experience peace. This is good for my mindset. So that's one of the things that started helping me when I started developing wellness. And for me, my wellness started in my mind. And until I started saying, I can't do this anymore because I know this is going to affect my mental health. And that was me, that for me, that's a boundary. I already checked that box off. If I do this, I know later I'm going to be, I'm going to get all upset and stuff. So, first, I had to learn to be honest with me. And that took a lot of work, because I doubted myself. I wanted to people please and all of those things. But I had to learn that while I say these are my boundaries, but I also have to respect my own too.
Hmm.
Mhm.
How do you feel dealing with other boundaries? Have you ever encountered someone telling you a boundary and it was just kind of hard to accept it or to
Oh yeah.
abide by the boundary? Like,
Of
how do you
course.
process and navigate that?
Okay. Well, for me, when somebody um somebody gives a boundary that I don't, it may be something I don't agree with, it may be
Mhm.
something I don't believe in, it may be something that I don't understand. But what I always try to do is respect other people, even when I don't understand. And for me, if I don't like it, it doesn't mean that I can't allow them to have the freeness to their opinion. And many times, a lot of people, when they don't like something, then they'll talk it down. Oh, that's stupid. That's this. That's no. Just like I want others to respect my opinions, I allow you to have yours, but at the same time, I allow myself to have mine. And and for me, that means openly, like you said, actively listening, paying attention, and giving the persons the support that they need. That's what I've been learning. I've been doing actively studying love and what that means to me and what it means to other people. So when it comes to boundaries that we may not like from other people or don't understand, I had to start learning to process. It's not about what I like and what I want. Because I care about this person, I have to take the time to love them the way they need to get love in that moment.
That was deep. That's like a Marlene should have like a Marlene. Okay, off topic. Marlene, I feel like you should have like an audible of just like a long like video of just Marlene sayings. Marlene
Well,
motivate.
oh, Dawn, trust me, me and my mentor were working on
Because
something. Yeah.
Marlene be saying some stuff, and I'm like, I can just sit there and just put on, okay, I need to put on chapter 5, motivating yourself, or chapter 6, learning how to, you know what I mean? Like, okay, I need to put on this particular one and just have it just going and playing in the background. Just because that was like a mic drop moment. While we be giving mic drop moments. Realness is the realest when he says, I learned we definitely gotta stop back step back from people pleasing. I feel like that is
Yeah.
something that we are like I was taught as a child was to always please people, like to
Yes.
not be a hindrance, not to be a burden. And just I didn't even know until as an adult that I could ask for stuff when it came from my parents of stuff that I wanted but not necessarily needed. And my dad was like, "Well, you never asked for those type of shoes." Because I told him, I said, growing up, I used to get teased for the type of shoes I had. And he was like, "Well, you never asked for anything different." And I said, "Well, I heard you and mama say that we didn't have no money. So that money was
Exactly.
tight. So why would I ask for shoes like the other kids when I know I can go to Payless and get double or triple the shoes?"
Yeah.
But I know I'm about to get made fun of because I have big feet, but I wanted these for other
Mhm.
particular shoes just because I like them. It's like mud. And I knew that wasn't really popular, but I'm like, this is something I'm confident and comfortable in. But mud shoes at the time used to be like $50. And so I'd never asked for it. And he was like, I was the most low maintenance child, one of, not the only, but the low maintenance child that my parents had because I just didn't ask for it. I always say I had hand me downs from my sister or what someone gave from the church. So in my brain, what I had, I was grateful for, but I also never knew that I could ask for anything else. And
Yeah.
so when I got older, it was just more like whatever people gave me, I accepted as this is what I can have. Like there's nothing else I can get from this particular situation. And if they were upset about something, I would be like, okay, well, how can I make you feel better? Like what? And that was I was always taught to cater towards people to where now I'm like, Don, what makes you happy? Like
Yeah.
do stuff for yourself, and which I'm learning now how to do because even on my channel, like if y'all look at the videos, it's always with my family. I'm very big and family oriented. Molly, am I going over?
No, no, no.
Okay.
You're fine.
I'm
You're
looking.
fine. You're good.
I think Gio stopped a little early, so I have a little extra.
Yes.
You
Yes.
let me know. So I'm very family oriented. For the longest time, I prioritized family and other people over me. And of course, like the situations like varies about what. So there was a situation where there was someone that always needed validation. So I never could really have an opinion about something because I always knew that this person feelings would get hurt. So I always felt like I had to like for lack of a better word, placate them. Like I'm almost like they like, oh yeah, you're doing good, which I know like their attitude or behavior was childlike, but I didn't want them to get mad at me. Hold on. Okay. I didn't want them to get mad at me or to cause a scene because I love them. And honestly, it just made horrible character, like not character, like horrible behavior from this person because they were never challenged from it. So eventually, when I got tired of it, I said, hey, how you're acting is not appropriate for a person your age, and this is how it's making me feel. And I can't continue to do X, Y, and Z when it comes to our relationship. And that was the first one I felt like I was, actively communicating. And for them, it hurt their feelings. They're like, well, you never expressed this is me as a person. And I said, no, stop. If this is positive. Like I'm not saying you are a bad person. I'm saying the way that you behave in these type of moments, it's not something that I can accept. And a lot of people
Exactly.
don't like it, but they don't say it because they don't want to upset you. And they took it as you don't like me.
Yeah.
You don't like me as a person. And I said, no, I like you as a person enough to tell you that your behavior is something that's not acceptable as for an adult to behave like that because you wouldn't accept it for a child to have tantrums. And people
Right.
will say it all the time, you don't like me as a person because this is a part of me. I'm loud. Or either you don't like me as a person because I like to curse. Like I'm like very outgoing and I like to be in people's faces, but I feel like there's certain limits to how a person can act in public and just around people or certain things like you like, okay, I don't want to always hear you like going off and cursing. Someone had to stop me because I can curse. Marlene haven't heard me curse, but I can. I
Oh.
heard you curse. I can curse. My dad growing up with Samuel Jackson curse like that. Where
Ooh.
growing up I didn't curse not until I got older. And then one day I was going off and I was like, this mom and the person said, hey, stop. I said, what? They was like, that's not you. I'm like, what do you mean? Like you're going off cursing. That's not a part of your character. And I
Right.
said, what do you mean? So I started crying and sometimes like that can be people like victimizing like when a person cry. I'm naturally emotional. It's not me trying to cry to make you stop, but to me, when she said that, I already knew that wasn't me. I knew that my
Mm.
spirit was off when I would go off, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try to do better. And if you heard me cursing, like call me out on it. I could have took that a different way and been like, well, you don't like me as a person, then I curse because that's how I communicate. You know what I mean? And that's not really me, even though that's been a part of me for all my life. Like I grew up with a lot of like that type of behavior, but I didn't have to let that define me. I don't have to communicate to curse. Even
Right.
now, like I've cursed recently, like gone off type, like, and I'm like a
Yeah.
creative person. Like I'll be mixing up words, and people be like, "What in the world?" I'm like, I'm doing too much, and so I have to sometimes check myself to be like, "Hey, if I wouldn't like this, if I wouldn't want to do it around my nephews or want a child to do it to me, I shouldn't be acting like that." So that's why I feel like some of the stuff that we feed our children and social media is like, well, would you let your little niece, get up there and show their body in a certain way? But that can be just a moral thing for a person. I'm just like, I just don't want to be portrayed that way until I want to. But at
Yeah.
this moment, I'll try to think of things like that. Like, would it be okay? Would I accept it if someone else was treating me a particular way? Or, I try to make sure I'm try to be well rounded. I'm not perfect because that gives narcissism vibes to think, I can't, no one,
Right.
I can't, I'm not above reproach. So that's all I'm trying to say. Like, if you're going to be a person that's giving out criticism or feedback to people and you can't accept criticism or feedback, that's something that you need to look at and kind of check yourself on. Like, why don't I like that? How does it make me feel? And where does that come from? Because for the longest, people can come to me, but I learned that I can't go to everybody and tell them stuff. Someone told me that, they had an issue with me. And then when I replied and said, I accept that, but this is what happened to make me react that way. But I don't want you to feel a certain way. But all they heard was, you just said, like, it's like, no, I'm telling you what happened to cause this. And that I'm taking accountability for my actions, but I'm letting you know I just be uncomfortable when you do this particular thing. And they can't take it. It's
Yeah.
too much. It's
And
like
and
you're judging me.
and you know what? It was because I was the main person, and right, like Pandy said, right, the deflection. I was the queen. I grew up in that. Like, so I would always play the victim anytime somebody would call me out on something because I was easier. Like,
Mhm.
so that means I have no accountability. I can do what I want, and now until the next time somebody catches me, and then I was the queen. I was the actress. I would start crying. Oh, you hate me, and nobody likes me, and the world is against me. I played that whole spiel until one day, somebody who knew me was like, "You do that, and we're tired of it." Okay, everybody is
Everyone's
tired
tired
of
of
it.
it.
We're all tired of it. So it's one thing that I know in my personal growth. I had to. The thing about it is when somebody says something to us, the reason why we get upset and we start shutting down is because we know that it's true.
Mhm.
And if you stay in that moment, in the moment of honesty, that person really cares about you and wants you to grow because they don't want you to continue doing things that is going to stop you from your elevation and your personal growth. And I'm still close to this person till this day because they checked me. It's like we've been putting up with this with you for a long time, and everybody's tired of it. But I wanted to pull you to the side to say, if you don't stop it, I can't have you in my life anymore.
Mhm.
So that's when I knew. I was like, okay, like the show is up. It's time
The
to
gig is up.
stop. Yeah, the gig is up. It's time to stop playing games and it's time to be accountable and mature. And like I said, it wasn't something like overnight I was checked and then I stopped. Just like you've had years of doing these same bad behaviors, it's going to take you some years to get on the right road and do the right thing, not only for others, but yourself. And I do believe 100% that people who deflect or people who get angry when they're called out on things, it's just because number one, you have to be willing to accept it, and until a person is willing to accept their wrongs, they're always going to get upset and get angry. And what I learn now is when someone says something to me, it's how you look at it. Now, when someone says something to me, especially if it's somebody that I know cares about me, I know that it has to be some constructive criticism. They're trying to help me to grow, but it's all about how we choose to look at it. When someone says something to, of course, naturally nobody wants to be talked about and to sit, you know our flaws highlighted. Nobody wants to have their flaws highlighted, but at the same time, who cares about you and wants you to be a better person. And that's what I try to think about. Like, when they're first talking, I'm like, oh my god, what are they doing? What are they talking about? They hate me. Like, I can feel myself like becoming smaller and smaller, but then I have to say, no, stop, listen, 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 and hear what they're saying so that you can be a better person.
That is for you.
Yeah. So we have about let's see, 7 minutes, Dawn. So um you were saying that about the boundaries and things. So what was it easy for you in the beginning to start with boundaries?
I would say only because it was something that was brought up to me originally from a therapist. She helped me navigate what that looked like for me. So when it was time for me to establish the boundaries, even when I wasn't aware that is what I was doing, I felt like I inadvertently started doing it and then was like, okay, I just, that was a boundary for me. Not and I feel like when I wasn't trying to set a boundary, it was easy for me. I honestly don't know when I started doing it until someone was like, you just, you have your boundaries. And I'm like, do I? I'm like, yeah, like certain things, I don't like conflict. And for me, I'm not going to engage in a way to where it's going to be combative, especially if I know that emotionally it's a roller coaster for me. And especially if the person that is having the issue with me is like everywhere. Like I'm not about to fight you. I'm not about to like you're not about to get me to where I'm like irate. And for the longest, whenever I had conflict, it depended on where I had conflict with. If it was with a family member, if it was with a friend, all of that looked different for me. And so for me, I was like after I expressed how I felt, how it made me feel, and that I was tired of the behavior. a person had told me, I don't really care like why you're upset because I'm over it. And for me, that is the reason why I had stopped talking to that person. I said, at this point, I've already told you that your behavior is a lot to where now you're being like, it's very dismissive and selfish. And then for you to, when I come to you and say, hey, are you ready? Like, are you in a good space to talk? I don't need to talk because I've already thought about it. And even though they're not the person with the issue to tell me that, okay, I've already God had already told me that it's not an issue. Like I'm good. And for me, I was like, okay, bet. So when it came time, I just was like, I'm done. I'm good. And for that person, it was like, well, what happened? It was like, no, we already had a conversation. I don't want to indulge in poor behavior no more, especially when you are a grown adult. A lot of people who have issues with accepting boundaries, a lot of times are people who are high intellect, highly educated, and because I feel like they feel like they're above reproach, that it's hard to communicate with someone who is highly educated or feel like they're self-aware. Self-aware people are the worst persons to to establish boundaries with. And even to this day, I mean, and I be thinking like, dang, this person is just so woke about who they are that they're not even able to have an appropriate conversation with me to where now I have to find a way to like let them know, hey, this is how I operate. And when you do this, this is how it makes me feel. And then this is going to be the repercussion if I continue to feel this way. And certain people don't know how to deal with conversations like that. And now that's how I'm used to having conversations with people, even whether it's family. I had to tell my family after, like I told you, the situation that happened this year, that I am no longer going to risk my mental health to save you when there's no one to save me. And I can no longer give all of myself for y'all. And that was just across the board to everyone. All of them we have different relationships. Some are closer than the other, but I made it plain that I am no longer going to go above and beyond for y'all or for anyone in our family, knowing that I may not get that in return. And it's okay to say I do not love you any less, but I know how I felt in the situation. I just can't do that no more. And they were like, okay, we understand, you have your boundaries. And even now, like I have a sibling who had an issue with my parent and was like, I was like, yeah, that's nice, you're gonna have to handle it because normally you used to me handling it for you. And I'm not going to be the middleman for y'all, for our family in their issues. And that's how it was for everyone. You know how you have a lot of siblings. People will come to me first. And then I had to dissect the situation, talk to the other person, get the person. I was always, even in relationships with friends, I was always used to being the middle person to bring people together. And it became stressful for me. And then when I looked at it, I'm like, well, I feel like I'm alone sometimes because no one is kind of, checking on me afterwards. It's exhausting to be the middleman to people drama. And especially drama that you did not create.
Yeah,
Like
Don, let me tell you, I gotta stop you on that part because most of the time, I come from a big family.
mm-hmm,
I'm the last of 10. So I can tell you about some drama. And the thing is that when you don't even ask for the drama, but everybody puts you into the drama. But I had to learn that the reason why you continue to put into drama is because you stick around, you listen to it. And what I started to do when I started shifting my mind and becoming more positive and aware of myself and my mental health, when I would be around and they would start talking, as soon as the conversation shifted to a negative, I pick up my purse and I'm gone. I said, okay, everybody, goodbye. And
that's my
you
cue
do
to
that
go.
every time. And they already knew. They said, Marlene, you can go now. I said, what? And they said, because we're about to get negative. I said, okay, thank you for the word. They already know because Marlene does not stay around anywhere where there's negativity, drama, and people who are not accountable for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that is growing higher on my list as I'm getting older. I cannot deal with people who are not accountable. If you always point your finger at somebody else, but never talk about what you do, I cannot deal with you. I can't. And because I put in the work to work on myself now, I cannot deal with people who are not accountable for their actions as well. I can't.
That's real. But how, with you being in a big family and you're also, I feel like a person who has an infectious personality when it comes to friendships, because I feel like you even expressed what type of friend you are.
Mhm.
I've learned that this expectations of people to be just like you to them is unrealistic and it's unfair. And so when I
Very.
expressed that to someone recently, I said, you need to stop having these expectations for people of how you treat them for them because it's really not a healthy thing. And when you keep saying it, it almost comes across as almost like, I don't want to say narcissism, but it's like I do this. It's like, well, why do you do stuff for people like this if you're expecting a certain thing in return? So you're not doing it out of love. You're doing it out of you wanting to be loved or to get recognition. And if you're doing
Yes.
stuff for that, then that's not right. And I'm like, it's a lot of stuff that I do that people don't know that I do. And I feel like I don't need to have recognition from it because I feel like God has always had my back in the back end, but also know that it's different. You like, I can't do no more of this because it's bringing either physical harm, mental draining, like all of that, like mentally is hurting me. But to have the idea that if I do this, you need to reciprocate the same type of behavior towards me, and when you don't, I'm upset. And it's like, why are you doing it? So when I had said it, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have. The person took it completely wrong to where it's like, do you not like me? I'm like, no. I just feel like there was a moment to like think about it because you always keep using this word expectations. And so I was like, well, who do people know that when you do these things that you're expecting something in return?
Mhm.
And so for me, I'm like, but now I feel like I can't accept certain things from you because I feel like maybe you're thinking that I need to praise you or to do the same thing for you. So I feel like slowly I have been removing myself from certain settings to having to feel like I need to do stuff in return for the person. But I feel like certain
Eh,
things don't need to be communicated. It's like, okay, you know what, maybe because I already know there's going to be an argument around it. It's more like I'm just not going to accept certain things. So that way the expectation that's been deemed upon me doesn't have to be a stress. And I even expressed like, hey, that was stressful when you did with that, like when you told me I needed to do this thing because I didn't have a way to complete it. So it put me, oh shit, almost like my phone about to die. it
Yeah,
put me
that's okay.
it put
I
me in
just
a
want,
moment.
I just want to say is, we have to stop expecting us from other people. I
Mhm.
think that's what helped me to be in a better headspace. I had to stop expecting for people to be as kind and as loving and as giving as I am, and allow people to be themselves. And if it's something that I can deal with, then cool. But if it's something that I can't, I had to learn to give myself the permission to release people. There's certain people, it's not my job to be a savior because I'm definitely a person. I love to save and help people, but some people they want to drown. Some people don't want to elevate. Some people don't want to grow. Some people don't want to be mature or accountable. And I had to learn to release them and say that it's their job to do what they need to do, and it's my job to be me. So I know you have to go, and I definitely appreciate you for coming up and supporting. This has been a great, 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 great conversation. Thank you so much, Don.
Thank
Any
you for having
final words?
me.
Any final words?
Um, all I can say is thank you to Marlene and her channel, her many channels, and her hosting on Marlene Motivates this marathon. I'm very much grateful to be a part of the marathon. Don't forget to follow me on all social media platforms. It is delightful_Dawn, and y'all continue to be unapologetic in all that y'all do over here. Come follow me over there so we can be family on both ends. But thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, Don. Bye. Yes, I appreciate. What a wonderful conversation with Dawn. And next up, we have panties, hair candy, and more. Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I hear you great. So this is Pandy's Hair Candy and More. I'm gonna mute myself so you can tell them a little bit about your channel.
Okay. Well, shout out to everybody in the chat. I am Pandy of Pandy's Hair Candy and More. And I have had this channel since about 2019. And for the most part, I started this channel based on, of course, my love of hair. As a former licensed cosmetologist and former beauty salon owner who was recently transitioning from chemically relaxed hair over to or back to natural. So I kind of started with that in mind, but then my channel kind of started taking on a life of its own. And I started drifting into this and drifting into that, which is why it's an and more channel because I talk about lifestyle, trending topics, um, some of everything, plus size fashion. I do a lot of product hauls, self care, motivation. I pretty much try to cover everything because as a mother, grandmother, wife, I feel like, you know what? And as an empty nester, this YouTube channel has really become an outlet for me to kind of journal and share and kind of vlog things that I'm going through on a day-to-day basis. So that's pretty much what you'll find when you come over to my channel.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm as always, I'm going to have Pandy's channel linked in the description box when this is over. So thank you so much, Pandy, for putting a lot of time into coming up and getting yourself prepared to be here. I truly appreciate it. And we talked a little bit about what we were going to talk about today. So, we're talking about everyone has challenges. Could you share a challenge that you may be facing?
Yes. Now that was hard because there are several. So to narrow it down, I would have to say for me, it's very similar to what Gio was talking about, the dealing with YouTube. But more specifically, I would say for me, one of the biggest challenges that I'm finding myself dealing with right now is as an empty nester, putting me first, celebrating me. I have raised kids. I put them first while putting myself on the back burner. I make sure my husband is straight, make sure his needs are met, put myself on the back burner. Grands, same thing. Parents, same thing. And now that they're grown and out of the house, it's like, well, I don't have nobody to scurry behind. So now I need to put me first. It's okay. I can treat myself. I deserve to be treated. I've worked hard and it's time and it's okay. Because for so long, people would make you feel bad about trying to celebrate you. And so that's why I always try to share that type of motivational content and encouragement and letting people know it is not selfish to have self care and to incorporate it into your life. Because at the end of the day, you have to constantly stay fueled. So that has been one of my biggest challenges, and I have been making it my mission to make sure that I get it in, and just to not really let anybody get me off of my path. Like the sister was just saying, Miss Dawn, my mouth used to be something terrible, and God is good every day. It's a journey to not go back and to keep pushing forward and, not kill because the tongue is vicious, and you have to keep it under subjection. And I want to pour into people and not harm people. I want to lift people up. I want to encourage. If there are young mothers that are in the shoes that I was once in, I want to encourage. I want to be there. Whereas I wish somebody had been there for me. You know what I mean? So there's those things. And I think it's just because I'm getting older, my children are grown, and it's just coming into that era in my life. And it's been a bit challenging, but it's becoming more clear now. And it's kind of taken effect in my YouTube channel because, like I said, I started with one thing in mind for a direction I wanted to go in on the channel. And when I ran into drama and dilemmas, I was stressing myself trying to figure out, well, why me? I see so many other channels doing all kind of crazy, and I don't curse on here. I don't do this. I don't do that. I pour out positivity. Why me? And then when I finally got over that why me stage and I became calm and was able to pray about it and really do the work, like let me comb through my channel and remove whatever may possibly be, outside of the guidelines, and really focus on what is the content that you really want to convey. More self-care, more self-love, more positivity, more motivation. When I tell you, when I really started doing that, my numbers started to move. They started to move again up. I'm starting to get more new subscribers, more viewership. It's just like God is so good. That's all I can attribute it to. That's
That's
really all I can attribute it to.
it,
God is so good. When
it's
you just try to, leave it in His hands, quit trying to fix it yourself and leave it at His altar. He is
oh
so good. He is so good.
oh Pandy, that's a mess. That's a message for many people, including myself. I took that one right to my heart.
Mhm.
I can't speak for everybody, but for myself, I'm a person that, because I'm so used to micromanaging people in business and this and that, I have to learn that there are certain things that it's not mine. Take your hand off the wheel and trust
Mhm.
God and let Him do what He's supposed to do. Make Him have His way in your life.
Yes, yes. It has just been so unreal. I'm like, oh my gosh, do you know how long I've been trying to get these numbers to move? And it's like when I finally relinquished it, and it's crazy. Like, raised up in the church. I know the word frontward and backwards, Sunday school teacher, okay, mother's board, just everything. I know everything that I should be doing. But it's like when you find yourself in these predicaments, are you going to be able to practice what you preach? Are you going to walk it like you talk it? Okay. And if you're not going to walk it like you talk it, you're going to fail every time. But when you fall back and you relinquish it and trust and have faith and know that God got you, it's like that's when He begins to move. And it's like when I finally got to that place, it was like, okay, don't worry about it anymore. And I promise you, when I just said, okay, I'm going to step back and I'm going to let His will be done, that's when I start to see things move. And they're finally starting to go in the right direction. Now they are taking a shift in a direction I wasn't prepared to go in, but I welcome it. I
But
welcome it.
yes, you welcome it. But the whole thing about it is sometimes when things shift or pivot in our life. But I had to learn because I'll tell you something, Pandy. When I started this channel to like basically do reactions to other people's content, and then next thing I started talking on this channel about motivation, and I was like, but I'm not. I was like, I'm not a motivator. I was like, what am I even doing? But I had to learn that that's what direction that God had for me. And
Mhm.
sometimes in our lives, we have to shift our life in the direction that we're supposed to be going in, the using our talents and using our gifts, because some things, yeah, while it could hit and be reach certain people, but that's not what's meant to be for you. You have to get back into your purpose, and it made me something sometimes reminding yourself that you can do something, you start something new, allow yourself to be uncomfortable sometimes so that you can work on your purpose in your life.
Yeah, I agree. That's so interesting too because I never thought. I was like, I'm not going to be coming on here talking about trying to encourage others. I'm going to be coming on here talking about what products I'm reviewing. And don't get me wrong, I still enjoy doing that type of content. But it's like becoming more and more pressing, still get a message in there. Still take the mess out and get a message in there that God is still good. He still reigns on the throne. He still makes a way out of no way. And guess what? It's okay to celebrate you. Because at the end of the day, especially for us women, and trust me, I love and appreciate all of the male supporters, but for us women, sometimes, I mean, you put yourself on the back burner, you try to be everything for everybody. And then when you're depleted, who is going to be there to lift you up and refill you? You have to take some time to refill, to replenish, and you would be surprised at how many people don't learn that, or they don't know that, or they just simply overlook it. And or it's not even that they don't know, they've been made to feel guilty
Yeah.
for doing it, because that was a part of my problem. It's like, wait a minute, I go to work 40 hours a week. I mean, can I enjoy something? Like, I'm like, okay, I don't have to buy school clothes anymore. I don't have to buy school supplies. I'm like, I have like a little abundance now that these children are grown. What do I do with this? It took me so long to adjust to cooking for two instead of cooking for a whole house full. It was like, I
Yeah.
didn't know how to do it. It was like, I've never done it. So it's just been a whole learning lesson. And I find that sharing those types of stories now on my channel, people are able to relate to, they're able to engage. I think I'm more relatable because it's more real life.
Yeah.
People are dealing with these things, women are dealing with these things, or they're about to be dealing with them. And it's like, oh, this is how you dealt with it. Okay. So they kind of can gauge how to approach it when it comes time for them. And it's new for me, but I'm enjoying it.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was one of the things that I don't know if you remember, but about a year ago, that was my mantra for the year: celebrate newness. And
Hmm.
that was very hard for me to celebrate when things are new in your life. You kind of like, oh, this is uncomfortable, it's strange, it's weird, but I had to learn to celebrate where my life is shifting and enjoy the moments, because most of the time we're always looking ahead. What's next?
Hmm.
What's next? But never allowing ourselves to be in the moment and saying, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying my personal growth and the new me and the new mindset and attitude and everything that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I would say it's still, there's challenges that present themselves on a regular, ongoing basis. But I also feel like, okay, this is something that I'm learning to embrace. And I sometimes have to have a lot of self talk. I'm like, girl, you got this. Quit tripping. Get over yourself. Pray about it and pick yourself up, dust your shoulders off, and try again. You're not going to always win. And then it's like sometimes after those pep talks, sometimes you got to pray about it. Sometimes you might have to get in the word a little bit, whatever the case may be, but go at it from a different angle. And in particularly, I think the biggest thing that was really affecting me and draining me was the whole YouTube. And it's hard to explain if you're not a YouTube content creator. You would be like, what? But honestly, I have been trying to do this since 2019, and I had this successful, thriving, monetized channel since 2019. And then all of a sudden, they update their policies, which they do all the time, and I get demonetized. Now, grateful that I didn't get terminated. My channel could have very well been terminated, but I was just so blindsided that I was like, why would I get demonetized? Like, what did I do? I was like, what did I do? What did
Yeah.
I do? So you go through this whole almost borderline depression.
You take it personal because your
Yeah,
feelings have been hurt. It's
yeah.
personal. It's like I'm
It's
putting me in this thing. I'm putting me in this. I got skin in the
right.
game.
Exactly. And when you know that you have tried really hard to like follow the rules and do everything that they ask, and it's like, what? And I can scroll through and fall on a channel where folks are cussing each other out and doxing. And guess what? I see the super chats flying, and I'm like,
Flying.
well,
Money,
how are
money,
they
money, money.
monetized?
Hmm.
I'm like, how are they monetized?
Yeah.
And I'm a little channel. Like, so it was, I finally had to kind of just get out of Handy, give it to God, quit worrying about it, quit trying to fix it, just do what you need to do what you need to do, and get out of His way. Do
Yes,
what you need to
exactly.
do and get out of His way. And I'm telling you, they told me I could reapply after 90 days, but it's been well over like 6 months. And
Mhm.
honestly, I'm still hesitant about reapplying. I'm
Yeah.
still hesitant because I'm not where I want to be, and I'm still trying to figure out what direction I want to go in with the channel because, like I said, things are kind of shifting as far as what type of content I want to continue providing on there. So that I would have to say has been my biggest challenge. But as far as how I overcame it, I had to get out of God's way and let Him do His work. And that is a everyday thing, every
Yes.
day I have to get out of His way because the flesh in me wants to rise up every day and be like, no, I need to go out here and do this, no, I
Yeah.
need to go out here and do that. And it's like, no, every day I have to bring myself under subjection and say,
Hmm.
no, let it
Hmm.
be done this way. So it's a work in progress. I
Yeah.
still try to get up and do my due diligence. I still try to make sure I'm following the policies and the guidelines. I still try to make sure I'm pouring into me. I
Yeah.
still try to carry myself as a lady at all times. I try to encourage others. I try to motivate others and share when I can. And I find that when I got out of all that anger and hurt and bitterness and really started to accepting get out of His way and let Him do this is when things started to take a change for the better. Now, the monetization is not there, but I know it's not all about the monetization either. There's something bigger, and I know God got something greater in store for me. I know I was called to do so much more.
Yeah.
Okay? So it's going to come. It's
It,
going to
it, it will
come.
it will it will come, and I know that you're not this message you're what Gio said earlier, what you're saying, some of the things that I've said, even some people in the audience. I know there's a lot of people who have lost monetization or have been their monetization has been declined. It's a lot of things that happen, but
Yeah.
one thing that I also had to learn is I had to get out of my own way too, because that can be
Hmm.
a stumbling block for ourselves. Yes, about the plans and our talents and our gifts. Yes, not getting in God's way, but also we sometimes get in our own way. We get in the way of our own success. We
Yeah.
sabotage our own success. I started telling myself, I'll never make it anyways.
Hmm.
They helped me and I don't need that. And you start going in that path, but if you really want to do something, then you have to come back and say, but what did I do? Okay, I didn't
Right.
do the right thing. And then you start becoming accountable. You start getting real and transparent with yourself that, yes, YouTube does have its things. And there's a lot of things that I know many of us feel like that's not right and all kinds of things. But at the
Hmm.
same time, we got to remember this is their app, this is their rules, and we have to do what they request. We're on a free app. We're on a free app.
Exactly.
So, it's
Exactly.
that.
We got to kind of go along with what they say. And I honestly, I saw something too that the realist just said about coming very close to not having a channel. And I know Gio mentioned that earlier too about not quitting. And that's so much easier said than done. It is very easy. And I have just in being a collaborator through Team Build, doing Drop the Link Day and short support and motivating so many content creators. I was sitting back thinking a couple of months ago, like, well, how can I push other people and encourage other people to keep going. You got to put out something, and I'm giving people all this grand advice, and I was feeling like, man, bump this crap. I literally was feeling like, man, bump this, I'm good. Especially after I had a car accident in March, I was just I was so over it. I was just like, okay, too much stuff is happening. This monetization is crazy, and then you got stuff going on in your real world. It was just so much. But I'm thankful that I didn't give up, and I would come on and still go live here and there, and I would still create the content, because it's like things come to you and you get this newfound drive and this purpose, and your relationship uh with God becomes more, is this what you really want to do? You've never been a quitter. Since when you become a quitter? I've known you to be a rider. You normally ride this out. And so it's like having those kind of self talks, and it's like, yeah. And I get it. Trust me, I do. Some of these policies are ridiculous, but it's a free app. We're not paying to be on here, so we have to go along with what they set forth. But I think it's all about how we play the game. And are we playing the game wisely? It's almost like working smarter, not harder. And honestly, I can't even explain how once I relinquished, I literally, and I didn't think I could do this, because when I tell you I was so hot, I was heated. I was burning up. I'm not even going to lie. I was upset. I was mad. I put in a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of work. I didn't just throw any old thing up. I would put time into editing, put time into intros, outros, graphics, and presentations. And, I just felt like I put so much work, and I was like, wow, I know people that just hit the live button and go up here and curse folks out, and they're monetized. So I had this whole why me thing going on, okay? Once I was able to get out of that and quit looking around at everybody else and start looking at myself and really get real with me and relinquish, the key word just kept coming to me: relinquish. Just relinquish it. Get out the way, leave it alone, get out of the self pity, do what you got to do. And honestly, things started being revealed to me, like Gio said, going into the back office. I have combed through my content, which I have over 2,000 videos on my channel, because I've been creating videos since 2019. I have went line by line through every single last video, and I found so much stuff that should have been got me, you know, flagged, that I had to get rid of. I had to delete content. Um, you go under that copyright tool, which a lot of us don't even know to look under there. There was stuff under there. When StreamYard first came out, I used to stream to all three of my channels because nobody ever told us. It didn't come with a book, so I would stream the very same live onto all of my platforms, not realizing that today is called reuse content. So, if you're trying to clean up your page, you have to go and get at least two of those off of three of those channels, so that you're not caught up. And so when I started really relinquishing and asking myself, what do you need to do? What can I do to go in here and clean it up so that when I do go back before YouTube to reapply, because I'm not terminated, I'm suspended, that I'm in good standing? Because not only was it memberships, it was like I have the Amazon storefront tied to it. I have several other affiliate marketing businesses tied to my channel. I just had a lot of different monetization components because I am a businesswoman. Some call it hustler, some call it businesswoman, but I like to make money, and I had other things tied to my channel, to create additional streams of income. So when I started really thinking about it from that standpoint and really prayed on it and really started to understand, hey, you need to get up out of yourself and up out of your feelings, relinquish that. Okay, it's not doing you
Mhm.
any good. Do what you need to do to fix it on your end and what's in your power, and let God do the rest. That's when I started to see things really start to take in a shift. I mean, yeah, it's taken me a little bit longer, but honestly, I'm picking up more organic subscribers. You know, my numbers are going through the roof. My view time's going through the roof. Just things are taking a change, and I haven't seen that kind of movement in a couple of years. So I know it's going to be right this time. It's going to be different because I'm taking the time to do it right.
Yep,
So
but
I'm grateful.
you know, I know, Pandy, and I'm so sorry that that has happened to you or anybody. You know, when things happen, you know, we take it personal, we get upset, we're angry,
Yeah.
and all of those things. You're disappointed, of course. Allow yourself to feel those things, but also on top of that, then you have to say, now what did I do wrong? And then
Right.
fix that, and then allow yourself, because I think sometimes that God breaks us down and then
Hmm.
puts us back together, like Gio always says. He breaks us down because maybe in the certain things that we were doing along, we start getting comfortable, or we got lazy, or we
Right.
started aligning ourselves with people we didn't need to align with, and he broke
Right.
all that up. So now you have to start all the way back from the beginning so that you can do what you're supposed to do. I believe that
Right.
100%. When certain things happen to us in our life, that things get broken down so that we can do it. He said, now this time, are you going to do it the way I told you to do it? Yeah,
Mhm.
that part.
That's right. That's right. Breaking us down to build us up. I firmly believe that. And that's why I feel so confident. And at first I was like, I don't know what I'm going to talk about on Marlene's. But then as I was in the chat listening to the different testimonies, I was like, you know what? This is where I'm at. This is what I've been dealing with. This is what's been on my heart. This is what I've been dealing with every day. This is how I've been feeling. And it is kind of circled around this YouTube channel, you know? And like I said, I've used it as an outlet, as an empty nester, as a way to almost like a hobby, or a way to vent and kind of share my journey. And a lot of people seem to relate when you when I present it that way versus how I had been doing it. I seemed to, I felt like I was just walking around in a lot of confusion after that whole thing happened because I was like, well, what do they really want? You know, because I'm like, if you're trying to be positive and you're trying to spread positivity and good commentary and quality content, why would you be penalized? Like, it just took me a long time to wrap my mind around that. And now I'm just like, it is his will. I don't question it. It is his will. Who am I to question it? Who am I to question it?
That's the
You know?
and that's the whole thing about it. And I'm so glad that you came to that space. So, you know, always on, I know your channel, Geo's channel, Dawn's channel, my channel, we always try to put a message in there to encourage, to inspire, and to motivate others. And I have to say it while you're here and give you your flowers. I'm so grateful that I've met you on these YouTube streets, because you always give something motivational and inspirational. You do.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. And the feelings are definitely mutual. You have been a tremendous blessing and a pleasure to work with, to collaborate with. And I really appreciate you and thank you for the invitation. You've been helping me break out of my shell of
Yeah.
shyness.
Yeah. I remember, Pandy, when we started, you were kind of like, I don't know. I don't think that's for me. But you know, I feel some things it's not me. Some things was God was telling me her. And I was like, Pandy. I was like, Pandy doesn't do that. And he said her. I was like,
I
okay.
was like, you want me to do what? I'm like, I can talk to the camera. I don't know about talking to the people.
Yeah. But Yes, but
Oh,
a message was had today. So, thank you so much for coming up. I didn't want to keep you too long, but I did want to allow you to share, whatever challenge it was that you were facing. So, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, Pandy.
Absolutely. You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
No problem.
All righty. Take care, guys. I'll
Take
be in the
care.
chat.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye. So, guys, that's Pandy of Pandy's Hair Candy and More. Thank you so much for coming up. In the last, what, how much longer? 10 minutes that I have, I wanted to share, the rest of my, you know, challenge. Okay. So I was talking about this a little bit earlier and that everyone has its challenges. I wanted to say this to anybody who is here in the chat, anybody who is watching in the replay. What a challenge is for you is your challenge. You don't have to compare it to anybody else's. You don't have to feel bad or guilty about your challenge. You don't. Hi, Rob Albanks. How are you doing? And anybody I missed coming in, please forgive me. I was really involved in the conversation. Hi, Miss Nancy. Hi, Shay. If something that we're going through, I believe in everything that happens to us in our life is to help us, to heal us, to strengthen us, to motivate us, to inspire us, and to help us to be a better version of ourselves. But it definitely takes a lot of courage to change our challenge into an opportunity, change our challenge into an opportunity to elevate and to grow. And I understand like what Gio was talking about and Pandy was talking about and Dawn was talking about. It doesn't feel like it when you're in that season and when you feel personally attacked, when you've experienced some discouragement and sadness or trauma or some unexpected things, maybe in relationships, either with friend or romantic or expectation postponed. You were expecting this to happen and it doesn't. I want to say something to encourage you all in this message. Not all the time the things that we want in our life we get, but it doesn't mean you're a bad person. It doesn't mean that you can't have or great things aren't going to happen to us. But sometimes we go through things in our life in order to shift us in the direction where we need to be. Sometimes in that pain, in that hurt, in that sadness, in the disappointment, it is an opportunity for us to experience some personal growth. Maybe it's something that you need to learn right now so that when you get where you're supposed to get, you've learned the lesson. You've elevated, you've grown, you're stronger, you're more courageous. You know how to speak up for yourself. You don't allow others to pull from you. So, it's all that involved in challenges. And I know that it's discouraging when you experience a challenge, even sometimes when it's a setback. But I believe 100% that is how you look at things. It may look right now in this moment like it's a setback, but actually it may be an opportunity. Maybe you just need to pause for a moment and just be still. Maybe you just need to be still and pour some time into yourself, some love into yourself, some appreciation into yourself, some positivity. Maybe you need to do a mindset shift. Maybe your mindset is not in the right space. Maybe you need to work on your attitude. Maybe you need to work on some healing of your past and the traumas. Maybe you need to learn how to become more self aware. Maybe you need to work on your independence, your own personal independence instead of depending on others. Don't get me wrong, it's beautiful to have people that you can depend on, but it should not be at the sacrifice of your mental health, of your personal health, your emotional health, your financial health. You should not be sacrificed in any ways for your well being trying to help other people. And that's a lesson. I had to learn that lesson. While we love and we support and we care for other people, it should not be at the sacrifice of our mental health. It should not be at the sacrifice of you feeling good about yourself. It should not be at the sacrifice of you not using your talents and your gifts. It should not be the sacrifice of you never having time for yourself, or you're not getting the adequate rest that you deserve, or your physical health starts to become affected. You start feeling ill. You just develop some diseases because you're not taking care of yourself the way you need to. So, sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes our challenge happens to us in the face of an illness, in the face of losing a job, or losing certain people in our life, like because they were toxic, because they were user, because they were not good for you. That happened as a wake up call for you to wake up. Wake up. It's time for us to wake up and start treating ourselves better. So I say that to all of you, ladies and gentlemen. If you are experiencing some toxicity, if you're experiencing some pain in your body, pain in your heart, disappointments, discouragements from other people, remember, it's about what you can control and not what you can't. We can't make people do the right thing. We can't. Trust me, I've tried. I've tried to make, in romantic relationships, in friendships, on the job, other people. You want people to elevate. You want people to do better. You want people to support you and love you, but people do what they want to do. We can't control that part. But what we can do is love ourselves. What we can do is respect ourselves. What we can do is use our talents and our gifts. What we can do is do what we're supposed to do. What we can do is live on purpose, with purpose, because we love ourselves. And that's something that we have to step back sometimes in our life. We have to step back from other people in order for us to focus on ourselves so that we can experience a healing. Sometimes we need to heal literally our physical body. Sometimes we need to heal mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially because of some things were other people's indiscretions. But sometimes we got to take ownership. Sometimes some things that happened to me is because I wasn't doing the right thing. And I know that burns. It burns, it stings when we have to confront ourselves, look at ourselves in the mirror and be honest. I haven't been doing what I'm supposed to do. I haven't been treating myself. I haven't been treating myself as a treasured vessel. I haven't been stepping into the shoes that I'm supposed to be doing. I haven't been walking the walk. I haven't been believing myself and being as confident as I'm supposed to be. See, it's one thing to say you love yourself. It's one thing to talk about your worth. It's one thing to say all of those things, but having knowledge is a different thing from application. It's easy to have, there's so many people who are intellectuals, right? They have lots of knowledge, lots of education. They have lots of letters behind their name, PhD, this, and this, but they're miserable because they have not applied the same knowledge to themselves. So, in your challenge right now, I'm speaking to you, I'm speaking over your life, I'm speaking life onto all of you. If you're experiencing a challenge right now, which I'm sure that you are, everybody experiences challenges. I want you to think about, what lesson am I here to learn in my challenge? How am I growing? Are you becoming more courageous? Did you learn a lesson? Now, do you have a testimony? See, sometimes we go through a challenge in order to be a testimony to somebody else. See, you didn't read this in a book. You're not telling anybody what you read. You're telling somebody what you experienced. And then after you get through your challenge, after you get through your storm, now you can testify and say, I've been there, I've done that. This is what you should do next. I applaud every single one of you. I know this life is hard. I know it's hard. I know it's difficult. I know it's a challenge. I know all of those things. But at the same time, make sure you humble yourself, respect yourself, love yourself, and make sure you have a group of people. As I call it, a circle of love. Have yourself people surrounding you and pouring into you when you feel down, when you feel discouraged. They're going to pull you up. You don't need those negative people, those crabs in the barrel that will drag you down. You need people in your life that will support you, that will say, put their hand up and pull you up, inspire you and motivate you, love on you when you don't feel loved that day. So if you don't have those people in your relatives, look for it. There's support groups all over social media. There's all sorts of motivating things that we can listen to through podcasts and talks and live streams. Also, there's positive books that we can read. There's motivation and inspiration. There's positive support that we can gain through what? Through above, based on what you believe spiritually. But don't forget to tap into your spiritual side, whatever it is that you believe in. That spiritual support is there. We don't have to go through this life on our own. You don't. You don't. Yes, blessings to everybody. Thank you for being here, everybody. Yes, love with purpose on person. Yes. Thank you, Rob. I appreciate it. Blessings to you too, Rob. Yes, actual support, realist, actual support, not the ones that just say, right? I'm not talking about the people who say they love you. I'm not talking about the people who talk about how much they love you when actually they only love you when they can get something financially, when they can get something emotionally, when you can do something for them. And the moment that you start drawing back, the moment you start putting on your own oxygen mask, loving on yourself, using your talents and your gifts, now they hate you. I'm not talking about the fake support. I'm talking about the real support, the people who truly rock with you. You know who they are. Lean into them. And if you don't have them, search for them, seek for it. You know, it's all up to you how your life goes. It's all up to you to learn to love yourself. It's all up to you. And I hope that you found something within this message, in this podcast, something within this live stream, something within all of the ladies, Boss Life Online, Delightful underscore Dawn, Pandy's Hair Candy, and more, and myself. I hope there was something that one of us said, or maybe as a collective, maybe a little bit sprinklings of some seeds of hope and encouragement from every single person that is going to inspire you. I want to encourage you, keep your head up. Don't let your challenge get you down. I want to motivate you. I want to motivate you and inspire you and let you know, don't listen to people on the outside. Don't listen to the people who want you to lose. Pay attention to the people who want you to win, the people who are applauding for you, who are cheering for you. That's the ones that you focus your attention on. Who cares about the negative people? Let them talk. Let them do whatever they're going to do. You just keep being phenomenal on purpose. Be phenomenal on purpose. Live your life with passion. Believe in the light that you have from within. Now, I want to leave you all with this message. Every single one of us has a light from within. Every single person. We all have a light from within. You have a light. I have a light. But sometimes our light becomes dim because of situations and circumstances, and we get down and we feel down and we're thinking down. Our attitude reflects we're not motivated and inspired to do anything. Don't give up. Don't allow situations or other people to get you down. You remember who you are. Remember you're precious, you're valuable, you're important, you're courageous, you're strong, you're loved, you are worthy, you are somebody. Never forget that, motivators. Remember your worth. Remember this too shall pass. And I know that everyone has their challenges. I know that. But don't let the challenges get you down. Let those challenges motivate you. Let it be your fuel and your fire to elevate and to gain further strength and be a testimony to somebody else. Thank you all so much for tuning in to this marathon. Shout out to all the ladies. Make sure you go by and you subscribe to each and every one of their channels: Boss Life Online, Delightful underscore Dawn, Pansy's Hair Candy, and more. And of course, the host, Marlene Motivates. If you have not subscribed, subscribe to this channel. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you, Pandy. I appreciate it. And shout out to everybody who is in here, my awesome mods. Thank you for holding it down. I appreciate it. And anybody who's watching on the replay, please leave me some comments. And I want to inspire all of you. Don't let your challenges get you down. Don't let your challenges disrupt your peace. Don't let anything stop you from being great. Don't let anything, don't let anyone, don't let situations, don't let evil people, don't let anything disrupt you. And even ourselves, don't let you stop yourself from winning. We can be our own worst critic, our own worst enemy. Sometimes we have to tell the little girl or the little boy that is inside of us, have a seat, because I'm about to win. I'm Marlene of Marlene Motivates, and you've tuned into your Everyone Has His Challenges marathon. Shout out to all the ladies that were collaborators. And I will be reaching out to some more wonderful people on this app for the next one. I appreciate every single one of you. Shout out to all my mods. Shout out to all my channel members. Shout out to all of you guys. You all are amazing. Know your worth. Know your worth. And if you see somebody that you don't know, go check them out. I appreciate everybody. Everybody, keep your head up, be encouraged, be inspired, and be yourself. I'm Marlene of Marlene Motivates, and thank you so much for tapping into this marathon. If you're new to the channel, do all of those YouTube things: subscribe, like, share, join channel membership, tip the host. All of it is your choice. I want you all to feel your best and be your best. Love yourself because you are important. Yes, you are. Take that in, believe it, sink in, and go out there and win. Go out there and love yourself. Go out there and be successful. And to anybody who needs to, who is feeling down and discouraged, get up. Not one time, not two times, but keep on getting up. It's not about how many times you fall down, it's about how many times you rise. So rise up, and rise up again until you win. I'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Bye bye.